What's going on YouTube? JT Born here, currently at my house right now. I just got done binging, or over the course of a few days, watching season 1 of That 90s Show, and I want to give my quick impressions on it. So, for those who don't know, my favorite sitcom of all time is That 70s Show. It's the one I've gone back and watched the most. Seasons 1 through 7, incredible. Season 8, not so much, mostly because of the character of Randy Pearson. Nobody likes Randy, and I think he's probably the most disliked character in sitcom history, or at least definitely up there. But yeah, Randy was no. I mean, there's a few highlights in season 8, but it's the one I've definitely watched the least. But when That 70s Show is at its best, it is my favorite sitcom of all time. I mean, the cast is great: Kurtwood Smith, Topher Grace, Deborah Joe, Laura Prepon, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, Wilder Valderrama. The less we say about Hyde, the better, apparently, with all the stuff going on with that actor. So he is not in That 90s Show. So if you want to know more about that, I guess you can look it up. I don't know all the details of it, but not really the best in terms of things. But basically, the cast of it was great. The writing was funny, and just the actors just were so good at portraying their roles, and you can get a lot of laughs out of it. And like I said, That 70s Show made me laugh an insane amount of times, like I said, all the way up through even some bits of season 8. But like I said, that's definitely the worst season. Or Tommy Chong would show up from time to time. It's just a very funny show with an incredible cast, and then various guest stars who have appeared on it over the years. 200 episodes of it. I never actually expected us to get a revival, but I know for years a lot of people were talking they should do That 90s Show, because obviously there was a show called That 80s Show, and I guess it only lasted one season. It wasn't very good, and none of the actors from That 70s Show went on to star in it. But yes, imagine if that was successful. Then we could have got 90s Show with most of the cast. But anyways, so all these years later, we got an announcement of That 90s Show, and I was very excited because Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Joe are back as Red and Kitty Forman. Red Forman is my favorite character on the show, and then probably Eric, because Eric, in a lot of ways, just reminds me of myself with just the way he kind of talks and delivers his lines and all that, just his personality in a lot of ways. Like I said, reminds me of me growing up with, siblings and that, minus the hot redhead girlfriend, of course. Or his future blonde. But anyways, so yes, the story this time around for That 90s Show, it's only a 10-episode first season. Hopefully they do get renewed for more, because I did enjoy That 90s Show season 1 overall. It's better than season 8 of That 70s Show, mostly because there's no Randy. But it's not quite the peak levels of the first couple seasons of That 70s Show. And again, this is a new cast of characters, and a lot of it is focused on the younger generation. Now, that is a tricky balancing act. I still think the show that does it the best is Cobra Kai, which I'm very sad that that's coming to an end with season 6, but I'd rather that goes out on a high note before just overstaying its welcome. But yeah, so the story this time around is the daughter of Eric and Donna, Leia Forman, comes to Point Place to visit with the grandparents, and it's supposed to be like a short visit, but basically she asks if she could stay for the summer, and then she makes friends. There's her next door neighbors, Gwen, and their crazy drunk mom, Sherry, who also forms a relationship with another That 70s Show alumni cast member. We'll get into that in a second. Probably maybe the standout of this season. And she also forms a relationship. Their daughter, Leia Forman, forms a relationship with Jay Kelso, who's the son of Jackie and Michael Kelso, not Casey Kelso. But yeah, so that's what happened. Just kind of them spending the summer there. There's a few other characters. There's Nate, who's her friend Gwen's brother, and his girlfriend Nikki, and there's a kid named Ozzy, and a few other That 70s Show cast members come back. Obviously, Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp are the mainstays from That 70s Show. They're their main cast, and then some recurring characters. Donna comes back for a few episodes. Eric is only in the pilot, but Topher Grace has not missed a comedic beat. I forgot, like, when I was watching the show, like, I had a big smile on my face through all 10 episodes. Some bits of the humor don't necessarily work, because I don't think the younger actors quite have the comedic chops that the original cast had. And they had a few funny bits here and there. I think the actress who plays Leia Forman is a pretty spot on, like, definitely has a lot of, you can see how she is clearly like the kid of Eric and Donna, just the way she delivers her lines, which does things. But again, it's first season, growing pains, and once they find their footing, I think the actors will grow into their roles more comfortably. But like I said, and then the kid who they got to play, Kelso's kid, is pretty spot on too. Like you buy that as the son of Michael Kelso and Jackie Burkhart. Which, by the way, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis do make one appearance on the show. It's for a brief little cameo, but Ashton Kutcher did not miss a beat. Mila Kunis did not miss a beat either. Like they very easily slip back into these roles, and of course, Red Foreman for me is still the probably the main highlight of the show. Red is just, like I said, he's probably my favorite, well, arguably my favorite sitcom character of all time. Just he reminds me so much of my grandpa, just the way he acts. Kurtwood Smith, what a great actor! I mean, I just love this guy whenever he shows up in, for the most part. RoboCop, Clarence Boddicker, he plays just kind of the jerk, if you will, but still has like a heart there. Pretty well, but he's a very talented actor, and of course Kitty Foreman. She doesn't seem to have aged much since the original show, and she of course is very funny. There's a lot of crazy visual gags that they have sprinkled out throughout the show. And yeah, so it's a 10 episode season, and it's from like start of summer to end of summer. And the teens, they go through their dramas, first kiss and relationship stuff and all the stuff you've seen before. Like a few other That 70 Show cast members come back. You, of course, obviously had Red and Kitty in the leads, Eric and Donna. Donna comes back in a few episodes. Eric's only in the first episode, and he's even more of a dweeb than before with his love of Star Wars. And like I said, Topher Grace has not missed a beat with Eric Foreman and his comedic timing. To me, he's always just going to be Eric Foreman. Even when I watch Spider-Man 3, I'm like, it's just Eric Foreman. I can't see him as like anything else. And he's very good in it. He's very, very funny. Lauren Prepon or whatever is so good as Donna. She has a few episode appearances, and her and Eric still have that spark that they had in the original show. Obviously, there's going to be no hide in this thing because a lot of controversy with Danny Masterson. I think he was on the show The Ranch and he got fired, and apparently he did some stuff with his girlfriend. I don't know all the details about it entirely, but it's not very good stuff. So that's why you probably won't ever see him back on the show unless he's able to kind of clear his name, which I don't know if that's the case. So, but yeah, so he's in there. Wilmer Valderrama as Faith comes back for a few episodes. He has probably the best entrance out of anybody on the show. When he first shows up, I lost it laughing because like I said, for me, That 70 Show was my favorite sitcom of all time, and I just had a big smile on my face watching that 90s show from the beginning to the end of the 10 episodes. So 10 episodes isn't like half bad for a first season of a new spin-off show. Yes, there are some things, like when it focuses on the older cast members, that's when the show's at its best. The younger cast, they carry the show okay. A few of them feel kind of like the same character in a way. Like you have Jake Kelso and his friend Nate, and they're bros, and they don't always like, they feel pretty like a lot alike each other. There's Gwen, who's kind of like this rebellious kind of 90s feminist kind of girl who is the friend of Leia Forman. And then you have Nikki, who's kind of just the book smart one. Doesn't really have too many laughs with her per se. And then you have Ozzy, who is the gay, openly gay character on the show, and he has a few laughs here and there, but he's not gut-bustingly funny. I think maybe the cast will kind of grow into this over the course of seasons, because it is hard to try and introduce a whole new group of characters and try and get us to enjoy them like we did with the original That 70 Show cast of characters. Cobra Kai did this very, very well, to where the younger cast can carry the show, but they had a couple seasons worth of stuff to do, but maybe just the writing of it was on point. The original cast was a little bit more involved, but here the two main cast members that stay the most are Red and Kitty, because Leia is staying with them. There's a few funny bits with them. The kids, the humor with the younger cast, I think, is at its best when it is playing off some of the older characters with Red and Kitty. Red in particular, I really just missed the foot in the ass jokes, the way he has a few of them in here. There's one really like what the fuck scene where he kind of turns into a baby at one point. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jr. The moment I saw, I'm like, oh sweet Jesus, it was kind of one of those dream sequences. But him and Kitty, they're so great together, and they're just both equally really funny. I just miss seeing Red and Fez, of course, with his character, and see kind of where he's at all these years later. Great. Wilmer, I'm glad he was in the show a lot. I miss seeing him. Leo, of course, Tommy Chong, flawless as always. We had Bob Pinciotti show up briefly for an episode or two. He was still pretty great and had a few good laughs. You could just see the irritation on Red's face when he showed back up. They do have like a new recurring character known as Sherry, who is the mom of was it Gwen and Nate, who are the next door neighbors of the Formans at this point, because Bob is pretty much out of state, I guess, at this point. I think he's living in Florida or whatever. Still, living a decent life, I guess, but he still kind of misses his granddaughter in that. But yeah, so like we have Sherry, who kind of just comes into the lives of the Formans, and she just kind of shows up. He's like she reminds me of like those Stewart sketches from Mad TV. Stewart, what does mommy say? And she kind of talks like that. So like a few bits just kind of made me chuckle in that regards. And then she forms a relationship with Fez, and that reveal was great. And just kind of seeing where Fez is at. We also do find out what happened between him and Jackie, and basically Jackie was like he was kind of heartbroken because Jackie had cheated on him with Kelso again, and it's just that never-ending cycle with Michael Kelso and Jackie Burkhart or whatever, and they have like one scene together, and well, not Fez doesn't really interact with anyone else other than Donna this season, and I really hope we do get a season 2, so that way we can get the original cast all back together, where we can just get like that crew with a entirely focused episode. I guess minus Hyde, unless you just want to recast the part. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't really expect Randy to show up because not too many people liked Randy. But you know what? Maybe there could be a way to make Randy work in this new thing. Probably not though, because it is Randy. But I don't expect much. There are some faults in this season too. I think sometimes with the younger cast, the humor doesn't always work as well as it did in the original That '70s Show. The ending too is just a random kind of like what the hell with the season. They just kind of throw some weird relationship at the very like last episode out of nowhere, and of course you get some of that drama, or just like which can just be kind of eye rolling and groaning a little bit. Whereas the original had that, a show had that, but it still was funnier in that way. This show it has that, but it sometimes just gets kind of like annoying a little bit at times. But there is some comedy within it that works pretty good. Like I said before, when they're focusing on the older cast of characters and integrating them with the newer cast, and they're able to play off each other, that's where the best aspects of the comedy come in. And especially just seeing Red get angry and get little glimpses into the old Red, I think that was great. There was one other appearance by Fenton, and I thought that was pretty funny when he showed up in it. No other big surprises. Oh, there's 90210. Was it Brian Austin Green or whatever his name is? He comes in for a pretty funny cameo this season, and there's a lot of crazy visual gags that they didn't do before, even with the still spinning camera and like just the kids on drugs and stuff, which is still always great and fun to watch. And just doing the circles this time around, and some flashbacks to the older stuff. So yeah, I did enjoy this season. I think it's better than season 8 of That '70s Show after initially watching it, and I do see that there's a lot of room for improvement. I hope to see more of the older cast members come back for season 2, because we didn't necessarily get everybody on there. There's still a lot of lingering unanswered questions, if you will, and I just want to see how the cast comes back, like a reunion episode, if you will. I think that would be really great to see in a more significant role, because like I said, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis only have one scene. Topher Grace was only in the pilot, and he was great in it. We got a few episodes of Donna, but I want to see more of the cast come back and play off things a little bit more, because the pilot was great. And like I said, I think the young actress playing Leia Forman, which of course named after Star Wars. So just when you find out stuff with Eric too, like he's like some professor of Star Wars religion or whatever, that was pretty funny, and you just see his dorkiness just take off a little bit more. But he does have some nice scenes with his daughter, and you can tell that's the daughter of Eric and Donna. It just feels pretty spot on. And then just kind of the revelation that there's one of them's dating, like she's trying to date a Kelso, is pretty funny too. You could just see like Red's disappointment, like, oh no, not another one, and all that. So I want to see the cast members play off each other a little bit more next season, just seeing kind of where the older cast is and how they react to now their kids are friends and hanging out with each other and all that other stuff. I see Fez in a big recurring role next season if they do it, and that's great, because like the stuff with him is really genuinely funny, and I want to see that because of what happened between him and Jackie. I want to see like Fez play, like have a scene with Jackie and Kelso, because you can see the heartbreak in his eyes after what happened there, and I thought that was all pretty good stuff. The ending, though, I guess spoilers at this point. Leia kind of, who's dating Jay Kelso, which is, obviously the son of Michael and Jackie. They didn't really showcase his other daughter that he had with Brooke. Maybe she'll show up in the next season, because, well, why wouldn't you bring her in? or Donna's sister. Remember that? Donna had a sister in the pilot, and I remember that one episode of that '70s show where they're like, "Whatever happened to Donna's sister? Find out in the next episode of that '70s show." And they just never acknowledged it. Um, so maybe they'll bring that in. No mention of Laurie either, too, and of course, no mention of Hyde, given the stuff going around with the actor. But there is still a lot of interesting angles that they could go with in future seasons. So I see a lot of people have been surprised to enjoy it. The older actors are great as always, and I still see a lot of room for improvement with future seasons. Because even that '70s show, the first season is really solid, but I think like seasons like 3 and 4 is kind of where the show was at its peak, if you will. If I'm trying to remember all the details, but sometimes it takes a minute for a sitcom to really find its footing. You can see the growing pains within the first season. You can see that here, but I think the more they get in tune with things, they see kind of the feedback that this season got, and I can see a lot of room for improvement. But I'm glad that '70s show is back in some sort of continuation with that '90s show. Is it the best continuation of a sequel years later in terms of a series? Not necessarily. I still think, even though this isn't in the same category as that, it's no Cobra Kai in terms of quality in that regards, but it still is a really good time. I was laughing quite a bit. It's the first time I really sat down and watched a sitcom in a while, so it feels right in tune with the original That '70s. So if you're a fan of that, I think you'll come away at least laughing a good chunk of the time. Like I said, it is better than season 8 of that '70s show. I know that's not necessarily the highest bar, but there is no Randy, so that is a plus. But like I said, the older actors do not miss a beat in terms they slip right back into the roles. Their comedic timing is still as great as always, especially Topher Grace and Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Joe. They're all really great. Donna is still pretty funny when she's utilized, but she didn't really have any scenes with Jackie, so I'm hoping we can get some of that in the next season, and even Ashton Kutcher back a little bit more, because Ashton Kutcher he plays the idiot so well in this. Like his one scene in this is better than anything he did in the entirety of Two and a Half Men, and I wish he would kind of come back and just do more stuff on that '90s show. So, like I said, I was pretty impressed with what they did, and I hope they get a season 2 and we see where it goes from here. I don't want this just to be a one and done season. There's only 10 episodes, so it doesn't take long. You can just binge it all like a span of like 5 hours. But I spaced it out over the course of a few days, watched like a few episodes one night and then a few episodes the next, and then really finished it up like this morning and all that. So yeah, there you go. If you watched that '90s show, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications. I don't know what the next video will be, but I wanted to talk about it because, like I said, I love that '70s show, and I was excited to see what they did with that '90s show. So there you go. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.